Had it not been the Lord who was on our side, had it not been the Lord who was on our side, the water would have engulfed us, we would have surely died. Had it not been the Lord who was on our side. Blessed be the Lord who would not give us up. Blessed be the Lord for his unfailing love. The snare is broken and we have escaped. Our help is in the name of the Lord. Blessed be the Lord. Well, good Friday morning to you. May the 1st. It's hard to believe we have made it through the month of April and are beginning this new month of May. But hope you're doing well and being safe at home with your families. Have you ever wondered or ever encountered your pet, dog or cat, staring intently out the window or out the door, or maybe even in your backyard, staring intently at something? And as you investigated what it was they were staring at, um, it seemed as if they were unwilling to budge for anybody or anything. And as you looked, you saw nothing. Couldn't see anything out there. But they obviously sensed something and they were intent on that. And we know that pets and dogs especially have a very keen sense of hearing, much more keen than ours, and oftentimes just a sense of things that we cannot see. And it's quite fascinating that they can pick up on those things. But oftentimes it's worth us, paying attention to and investigating a little bit to see what it is that they may be seeing or sensing. It reminds me of a story, and you know the story, but it comes from the 22nd chapter of Numbers, where we come upon a man, a prophet named Balaam. And you'll recall that Balaam had been hired by Balak, the king of Moab, to come and put a curse on the Israelites who had moved into the area there close by. The king of Moab had been watching the Israelites and seeing that they had favor with God. They had defeated the Amorites, and he says they were numerous in size, and so he was afraid of them and afraid they were going to come and attack him and defeat the Moabites. And so he hired Balaam the prophet to come and to put a curse on the Israelites so that he could go out and defeat them. And so Balaam says no the first time that Balak offers him money. And then Balak sends his guys with some more money and ups the offer. And Balak decides to go. And God told him, if these men come seeking you, go, but only say what I tell you to say. So Balaam got up the next morning. He was riding his donkey when suddenly the donkey turned off the road into a field. And after Balaam, hit the donkey to get the donkey back on the road, then the donkey started to push Balaam's leg against a wall, crush his foot against the wall. And so he began to hit his donkey again, and after he hit the donkey to move away from the wall, the donkey just laid down right there where he was at. And so Balaam was angry with his donkey. His donkey wasn't cooperating, and so he began to hit the donkey yet again. And the Bible tells us what happened next. It says that the Lord opened the mouth of the donkey, and she said to Balaam, what have I done to you that you've struck me these 3 times? And Balaam said to the donkey, because you've made a fool of me. I wish I had a sword in my hand, for then I would kill you. It's verses 28 and 29. Apparently, Balaam was too angry to realize that his donkey was talking to him, and he was responding to this donkey. And the donkey said to Balaam, am I not your donkey, on which you have ridden all your life long to this day? Is it my habit to treat you this way? And Balaam replied to the donkey and said, well, no. Amazingly, in this scenario and with some humor, the donkey wins this argument with Balaam over why she wouldn't go any further. And then the Lord It says the Lord opened the eyes of Balaam, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way with his sword drawn in his hand. He bowed down, and he fell on his face. And the angel of the Lord said to him, Why have you struck your donkey these 3 times? Behold, I have come out to oppose you, because your way is perverse before me. The donkey saw me and turned aside before me these 3 times. If she had not turned aside from me, surely just now I would have killed you and let her live. You see, Balaam got up and he was headed to Balak because he was kind of greedy and he wanted the money. And I believe that as we read it, we kind of see that perhaps his heart wasn't in the right place, and he wasn't going to say only the things that God wanted him to say whenever he went to get paid. And so the angel got in his way to stop him from going because he wasn't going to do it God's way. And what strikes us about this story as well is that it's so incongruous. It's unlike God. Um, it it um, it it's just it's precisely the way God is. He wants to communicate with us. He wants to communicate His will with us, and really he's very creative about it a lot of times. And so He can do a variety of things in order to make that happen. He's not limited in any way, and because He wants us to know His will. And He'll speak it to us in any way possible in order to get it through to us. And Balaam, he was so blinded, so intent upon having his own way that he couldn't really see what God was trying to do, what God was trying to say. And so God spoke to him through the donkey. He was blinded, by this idea of money and cash, and he failed to see what he was supposed to see. And here's a question: what's more difficult, to open the mouth of the donkey or to open the eyes of Balaam? And it appears in this particular scenario that it was more difficult to open the eyes of Balaam, and so God opened the mouth of the donkey first. And then the angel of the Lord speaks to him. And notice Balaam's response in verses 32 and 30 through 34. And Balaam said to the angel of the Lord, I have sinned, for I did not know that you were standing in the way against me. Now then, if it is displeasing to you, I will turn back. He says he's sinned, yet he doesn't really want to turn back. His mind is still set on going and seeing Balak and getting paid probably. And so he still doesn't completely acknowledge that he displeases God. How often does the Spirit of God have to speak to Balaam before he gets the point? Several times. And how often does God have to speak to you and I before we get the point, before we turn from the wrong way, before and do that which pleases God? How often does God have to get our attention and speak to us and say things and to get us to think about what we're doing or what we're not doing that we should be doing? Do we say we're sorry and still do the thing that displeases God? It's a question for all of us, something to think about. And I read this story and I chuckle sometimes at Balaam having this conversation with his donkey and the donkey winning the argument. But at the same time, I also read the story and I think, boy, I sure hope that in any given situation or scenario that I'll have more sense than the donkey, that I'll be more in tune with God than the donkey, and be able to listen to what God is saying, be able to learn what I'm supposed to learn. Something to think about. In any given circumstance, in any given scenario, when things are going your way or not going your way, and things are hard, what are you supposed to learn? When there are challenges put before you, what are you supposed to learn? When our plans don't work out exactly how we think they should, what are we supposed to learn? When there are hardships, what are we supposed to learn? And that's a question for all of us. As we read stories like this, what is Balaam supposed to learn? What did he learn? And he did go and do what God told him to do, and ended up blessing the Israelite nation, contrary to Balak's request. Should go read that story again, just as a good reminder, but something to think about. What's God speaking to you today? What's He asking you to do? What's He trying to get your attention about today? And what is it you're supposed to learn? Hope you have a great day. Love you all, and we'll see you next time.